The latest shoe drops in Houston. This is instant analysis presented by Tylenol Rapid Release Gel Caps. Rapid release for rapid relief. Let's go to Jarrett Bell. Maybe with what's going on in Houston, we can't say we didn't see this coming, but this is a big one. J.J. Watt. Is this as simple as it's being portrayed, that a veteran player does not want to be part of a rebuild?
Well, it's deeper than that. And as any of us have followed the Texans over the past few months, you saw the possibility of this on the heels of Deshaun Watson and on the heels of the team president resigning and on the heels of the mess that it is. But, the tag you just referenced leading into this segment about rapid release, I mean, it is so appropriate, right? I don't know if the Texans will get rapid relief from all of this, but JJ Watt is an institution, and if I'm a Texans fan, I feel even worse today, as I have felt over the past few weeks of all of these different things that have happened.
Yeah, I mean, what in general is going on there? It's hard to pin down everything with executives stepping down, Deshaun Watson's trade demands. Are they in a key point here in terms of keeping this franchise where it needs to be?
Yeah, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do that, quickly at all. And let's assume that something will happen that moves Deshaun Watson out of town. And if you're the Texans, hopefully you can get whatever you can for him with a trade. But you get rid of Deshaun Watson, and what are you going to have to do? You're going to have a franchise quarterback. Mm-hmm. So, for my money, I would not want to move him. I would try to make something happen to, appease him. But when you lose the other pillar in the locker room and JJ Watt, I mean, what a devastating blow. And so they've obviously committed to a serious rebuild, which is just so unusual when you think that this team was in the playoffs, 3 out of the last 5 years or something like that, where they've won division titles, and they were leading the Kansas City Chiefs 24-0 in last year's playoffs. Mm-hmm. So they've had a decent program to build around, and now you just blow it all up. And I think the finger is pointed obviously at the ownership and Cal McNair taking over for his father, his late father, Bob McNair, is trying to make the decisions, and he's leaning on this guy Jack Easterby, who was at one time a team chaplain and has really just risen up the ranks to have unprecedented power for somebody with such a slight resume. And I think that is one of the root problems right now, to tell you the truth. But, new coach David Culley, new GM Nick Caserio, who have never done it before in those respective roles, by the way, they are up against it.
Well, J.J. Watt, talk about resumes. He's got one of the great ones of all time on the defensive side of the football. Do you care to speculate where he might end up? I'm sure there'll be interest. He's not the player he was as a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, but still a guy, and as you mentioned, a pillar, a guy that could really change a locker room as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He's only like 32 years old. So, no, he's not a quarterback, and these guys play into their 40s now, but he can definitely still bring it. So if I'm J.J. Watt, wow. Any more room in Tampa? that's one place. Even a Kansas City would be a place. I mean, you want to go to a place that has an opportunity to win and to win, fast. Baltimore comes to mind. The Los Angeles Rams, who have already made this big move with Matthew Stafford. I mean, that would be another place. So I think Miami's another one, an up and coming team, which has also been mentioned in the Deshaun Watson possibilities. Wouldn't that be something if J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson ended up going to the same team? And I wonder about Green Bay. J.J. Watt put out his video from Wisconsin. If you know J.J. Watt and his background, he went to college at Wisconsin. He spends his off seasons in Wisconsin. I think he and Aaron Rodgers are pretty cool too. So if I'm looking at my team with the Packers and saying, hey, if I got a shot to get this guy, I would make a a definite run at him. And that's, they fall into that same category that I just alluded to, teams that might be a player away from, competing. And you know what? One last point to make, especially when you talk about JJ and Deshaun Watson, you see what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just did in getting Tom Brady. I think, it's a copycat league. I think more teams are going to be willing to try to roll the dice with some veteran guys that can really put them over the hump. And I think we've seen that already with the Rams and kicking Jared Goff to the curb to get Matthew Stafford. Maybe that'll work out like it did with the Bucs and Tom Brady.
Forget the slow build. Let's go for it now. Houston's going the other direction. Jarrett, we appreciate this. Thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure.